So I guess it's now appropriate to say good afternoon. The 2015 Women of Achievement honorees are the embodiment of work and service to make the lives of women and children better in our community. Our honorees today are individual stars in their own right that are paving the way for others in 5 very specific ways worthy of recognition. When we recognize these women together, they become a powerful beacon that enlightens our community and helps empower others to be independent, literate, healthy, and safe. Their stories are in your program, so you can read all about them on your own. We would like to get to know each of them, though, however, on a more personal level when we come up here and have a conversation. Our first honoree, Karen Bell, of the AP Bell Company, the Starfish, and my personal most recent favorite Tide Tables restaurant. So please help me welcome Karen Bell to our conversation. So our first question, who or what was a major influence in your life, and how did it play out as you have lived?
Thank you very much for having me here today, first of all. And it was funny because we had these questions a little bit in advance so we'd have time to think about them, but I decided to wait until last night to look at them so I wouldn't overthink it. And then I sort of still did because when I was in bed I was thinking about it. But anyway, I think the biggest influence basically in my life, of course, my family. And when I was little, there was a lot of discontent is how I thought I would describe it. But yet all during that, I can remember my mother would say, well, you can do anything you want. You're a princess. You can do anything you want. And so even though there was maybe not a lot of happiness, I still always thought to myself, well, I can go a different path, or I can choose to be happy, or I can choose to just look at things differently. And so I think that's pretty much why I always have looked at things and tried to be really positive, even when things were not as best as they could be. And so that's my answer for that.
So working with the mics here. Do you have a philosophy, saying, quote, that influences you?
I do, and one of my favorite quotes, there's actually 2 answers to this. One of my favorite quotes is, "The tide always turns," and I actually have that in my office. A folk artist gave me that on a just piece of driftwood or something. But no matter what happens, things can always be turned around, and again, it goes back to when there's negativity or things go wrong, there's always a way to turn it around and fix it. And other than that, my dad, when I started to work for him at the family business, he gave me these ground rules, and they were just, especially for a person that really was a man not of a whole lot of words. He said to me things like, always spend money in this county if you can, always give good fish weights, always, pay the price that you say you're going to, stick to your word. And so I was lucky to have that support me and just really good advice. So that would be that.
What advice would you give a young woman beginning her life's work?
This was such an easy question for me because when I left college, I went to Boca Raton to Florida Atlantic University. I worked initially, I interned at IBM, International Business Machines, and I loved it. It was fun, but you had to wear a suit every day, and it was very corporate. You were there from 9 to 5, and I remember I called my dad, and I said, I want to come back to the fish house, and he said, no, you don't. It's, you don't want to come here, the regulations and the fishermen, but I did come back, and I love it. So my advice to anybody would be, make sure that wherever you end up that you just really enjoy what you're doing, be it the people or the job or your surroundings, because it's a huge part of your life and you want to do things that you really enjoy doing.
And what lesson was the hardest to learn?
This one, I had to, part of the night was spent mainly on this one because I think what I've learned sometimes, and it's sad to say this, but I think the better that you end up doing for yourself and your business and your family, that there are people sometimes, and I would consider them mean people. And I think it's disheartening to see when people, I don't know if it's jealousy or I still don't have a good grasp of what happens, but there are people out there in the world who just aren't nice people. And I think that's been a hard thing to accept, and there's nothing you can do about it. I've learned you try to figure out a way around dealing with that type of personality, but that's been a hard lesson to learn, because I try to surround myself with good, positive people, and it's just not the easiest thing in the world to always do.
And is there a question you wished we had asked?
Yeah, that one I went round and round with a little bit too. And I think the question that I was relating it to how young people would listen to this, and I would like to be asked, what characteristics do you think are the most important as far as your business and your personal life? And they would be, for me, they were perseverance, and when those mean people are out there, you move forward, you disregard them, and you carry on. Just to maintain that positive outlook, because and I've watched others do the same thing. When something really horrible happens to someone, I've watched how different people have dealt with things in their life, and really it says a lot to be able to learn from that experience, but remember, it's not the end all. Pick yourself up, move on, and so perseverance and just a really positive outlook.
And Karen, would you like at this time to introduce your family and friends?
I would, and I am so thankful that they are here, because I'm not a big social person, so I appreciate all their support. My aunt and uncle, Ellen and Chester, their son Warren and his wife Deb, daughter Lindsay, and her boyfriend Danny, who told me to plug his band, We the Kings. Go on. Go on, what did you say? Go on YouTube and buy the album. But thank you all for being here.
That is pretty funny, because Travis is my neighbor. So Karen, you joined the ranks of outstanding Manatee Women of Achievement, and as you continue to represent successful women in our community. So please accept our candle symbolizing our theme of lighting the way for others, and we are so very proud of you. And the word of the day is don't drop it. Keep two hands. You're welcome. Thank you so much. It was great meeting you. That was truly great. Thank you, Nan, for giving me this opportunity. Poor Nan's usually the one who does these conversations, and because she's recovering, she asked me if I would cover for her. So this was a delight. So thank you. Our next honoree is Ashley Brown, Executive Director of the Women's Resource Center. So please help us welcome Ashley Brown. So nice to meet you.
Yes, good to see you.
So we'll go with our questions here for our conversation. Who or what was a major influence in your life, and how did it play out as you lived?
That was a difficult one, because you don't want to offend anybody. Namely, because my dad's here. I'm like, should I say him? So it was all you. It's all you. No, honestly, it was. It was Dad, really, from the beginning. I do laugh because both my parents raised me to be very independent, and then were shocked that I'm very independent. So as parents of independent children, you might understand that, like, why are you so difficult? But really, it is family and my friends. I'm fortunate to have been around a lot of good people in my life, and I try to pick the good things, and I also try to see the things of, oh, that's something I don't want to do, or that's a behavior I don't want to repeat. So I think being aware of your influences around you, that you can find inspiration from everyone. So it's really been a collaboration of people.
Okay. Do you have a philosophy, saying, or quote that influenced you?
So I have two there. I love the Eleanor Roosevelt, well-behaved women rarely make history, because So true. And it's so fun just to be a little bad. And the other, and this has really come to me recently, I was having a conversation actually with a young man who's an entrepreneur, that we were talking about data and managing performance and goals and where you want to be. And he said something that you just have those aha moments. And he said, you know what? I figure if I'm moving forward, it's good. So instead of beating yourself up for maybe not making it all the way to the end of the room, as long as you're making forward progress, I think that's an important thing to remember, and keep moving forward.
And what advice would you give a young woman beginning her life's work?
This was easy. Easy in a kind of a different way, but I think, and maybe not those three brilliant girls back there, which is so impressive, I think that everyone, but women in particular, and I think it starts as a young age and something that we battle, when you have moments of self-doubt or your self-esteem isn't where it needs to be, don't let that detract you. I think a lot of people get really off track when they start to doubt themselves and not making great decisions and start listening to the mean people or whatever it is. So work on your self-esteem and believe in yourself and keep that moving forward. I think that's, if you do that, you're going to do great things.
I'm learning a lot today. Thank you.
Right?
Yes. What lesson for you was the hardest?
Okay, no groans from my supporters. It would be shocking for you to know that maybe I've had a few control issues in my life. Very, very few. And this is something that we talk about that I think women in particular, we create our own glass ceiling sometimes because certainly no one's going to do it better than I am. And I can't delegate that because what if they screw it up? And so learning to delegate, and my right hand that I work with is laughing at me, but I'm doing better. But so that's a really hard lesson, to trust the people that are in your life, whether it's work or family, that they can help you along the way, and that helps you grow. So that would be it. Lessen the control.
I'm taking notes. Is there a question you wished you were asked?
Yes. So I think it's easy when we have wonderful days like this that I think make you feel humbled, certainly, is be gracious and say thank you. And then also, don't think that you have to do big things to make a difference. So all of us can impact our community and what we're doing in our community by little things. You don't have to write big checks. You don't have to make huge gestures. Just being engaged and involved make a huge difference in the community. So.
And would you like the opportunity to introduce your family and friends with you today?
Oh boy. So my father and his wife Pat are here from Covington, Louisiana, made a big trip. So I'm so happy that you're here and for us. Thank you. And because I'm not from this area, the other people, we are so blessed to have the best friends in the world and a great support system. And you guys truly are my family. And of course, not last but not least, I have the best nonprofit husband in the world. So, Jim Templeton, you put up with lots and lots, and I appreciate you every day. So, thank you.
Ashley, in sincere gratitude for your efforts lighting the way toward independent living for others, please accept our candle as you continue to help light the way for others.
Thank you.
So much. That's the word of the day. Don't drop the candle. 2 pieces. All right, our next honoree, Dr. Deborah Carter, a clinical and forensic psychologist, parent coordinator, and Florida Supreme Court certified family law mediator. To hear more of her personal story, let's welcome Deborah Carter to our conversation. I'm a hugger, sorry.
Yes.
Who or what was a major influence in your life, and how did it play out as you have lived?
First of all, I am honored to be here. Thank you very much for the recognition. I think the guiding force in my life has been my faith. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama, and I was raised in a very staunch Christian background. And that background laid the foundation for my evolution as I went to University of Michigan, which was a shock for a Southern girl, and then on to my master's and PhD and ultimately medical school, and being exposed to people of all walks of life, people of all cultures, people of all faith, has really allowed me, I think, to appreciate differences and how the differences have really influenced me, not only in my personal life, but also in terms of the work that I've done. So I think my guiding force probably has been my faith.
And do you have a philosophy, saying, or quote that influences you?
I do. There's two. Seems to be a theme. Yes, one is pursue excellence and play the long game. I'll explain the second one. Playing the long game is looking ahead and being prepared to do what it takes to achieve your goal. And I think sometimes early on in life, you know what that goal is, and sometimes you don't. You're taking steps and you're pursuing, you're walking along your journey, and you realize there's a turn that needs to be made. So I really think that ability to see that it's more than what's just right in front of you that makes a difference in your life.
And what advice would you give a young woman beginning her life's work?
To have a vision and to tenaciously pursue that vision. Sometimes we talk about having an idea of, I was very fortunate. I knew by about 10th grade in high school that I wanted to be a psychologist. At that time, I had no idea if I could possibly achieve that goal. It seemed incredibly lofty to me to get out of undergraduate school and to be able to have the credentials to be able to apply for graduate school, which was extremely competitive, and to be able to I was naive enough to think, well, I'll apply to one graduate school and surely I'll get in. And fortunately, I did get in, but I didn't realize how foolish that was at the time, that most people apply to like 20 or 30. I didn't do that. So that I guess as those doors have opened, it's helped me sort of realize that path was the path that I was supposed to travel. So I think I had the vision and I walked along that path, and I just didn't stop no matter what.
And what lesson was the hardest to learn?
Okay, I'm still learning this lesson. Patience. Anybody who knows me, patience. She's not terribly patient. So I've tried to learn that sometimes things will unfold a little more slowly than I would like, and goals get accomplished not quite as quickly as I would like. And so it may be sort of related, Ashley, to liking the control piece of this, but it's that ability to recognize, which I guess fits in with the long game, being able to recognize sometimes it is much better to be patient and to wait. And so I've learned it. I'm a little more patient, but I'm still learning.
Is there a question that you wish we asked today?
Yeah. I think asking me the influence of being able to have the opportunity to live most of my adult life and raise my children in this community, in I came to Bradenton in 1984, and my oldest baby at the time was 4 months old. He was the only one born in Ann Arbor. All the rest of the children were born here in Manatee County. They've all gone to school in Manatee County. They've gone to undergraduate school and graduate school throughout the state of Florida. When I moved to Bradenton, it was the smallest town I had ever lived in. I lived in Birmingham, a large city. I lived in Ann Arbor. And when I first arrived here, I was still working on my doctoral dissertation, so I had not finished. I didn't have a job yet. I had to finish my degree, and I had a baby at home. And it took me, I think, probably 9 to 12 months to meet another professional woman. And so I was trying to figure out, how am I going to fit into this community here? Because I came from a large university town. And it was such a fortunate opportunity. I mean, I had decided that I really needed to find my way to fit in, but as I had my other 2 children, I really wanted them to be a part of this community. And so between the sports activities and the friends that we've made, we still live on the same street that we've lived on since my baby, who's here today, my older baby, I have lived here the whole time. And so the opportunity to raise my children and to grow my business in a community where I know a lot of people, whether it's at the food store I run into somebody or on communities and organizations. It was such a fortunate opportunity that I'm so grateful to be a resident of Manatee County and to have my children be able to be raised here in Manatee County. That's really sweet.
And would you like the opportunity to introduce your family and friends to us?
Sure, I will. With me today is my husband, Michael. He is also a psychologist by training, but his business is primarily business consultation and executive coaching. And my mama is here today, Barbara Lambert. She is now a resident in Bradenton as well. She obviously is also from Alabama, since I was born there, and she lived here. She lived there for some time, but she lives here now. My dad passed about 6 years or so ago, so she lives close by and then visits my siblings. My youngest son, Chase Carter, is here with me today also, and he is a charter fishing captain, Southern Hook Fishing Charters. Those fishing people tend to stick together. And my daughter is here in spirit. I have to mention this. She's a first-year resident in neonatology at Wake Forest, and so she flew in, but she's also in a wedding in like 2 hours. So she's not able to actually be here today, but she was here in support. I also have 2 of my staff members here. I could not do the work that I do without the support of a tremendous team. The clinicians at the office, we're a 10-doctor practice, and support staff that's there. Without that kind of team support, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So Heather Sissel is here today. She's one of our technicians. And also Ryan Crimes is here, and she's the one who she's our bean counter. I say that in the nicest way, to keep all of our finances in order. So I'm delighted. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Deborah, in appreciation for your work in advocating for children and their families, please accept our candle as a symbol of a woman of achievement.
Thank you so much. Hold, don't drop. Okay, got it. Thanks.
That would be bad, dropping the candle of light. Okay. Our next honoree is Dr. Anila Jain. She's a physician and medical consultant in Anila Jain Consulting, children's advocate, a member of USF Alumni Association, and Commission on the Status of Women. Please welcome Dr. Anila Jain, 2015 Woman of Achievement. It's so nice to meet you. Okay. Who or what was a major influence in your life, and how did it play out as you have lived?
Looking around this room, I'm a product of Manatee County also, moved here at a very young age. And looking around the room, I can see those role models and mentors that have made a difference in my life, starting elementary school, Miss Reynolds, Miss Kurse, middle school, Miss Graham, and many community and civic leaders and friends. But several individuals that I have the most profound influence that have inspired me. First of all, my mother. She has always inspired me to continue to achieve my goals, no matter what, and to become a better person. The leadership traits that she has taught me, the passion for family, the vision greatly reflect the qualities that I continue to strive for today. The perseverance to succeed is what my mother instilled in me, and it continues with me forever. Not to be outdone, as my father always says, she's my daughter whenever she does something good. As an only child, I was told that you can achieve anything that you put your mind and heart to. There was never anything that that I could not do. His love, his understanding, his zest for life have made me the independent, passionate woman that I am today. Both my parents taught me that you have to believe in yourself and at a very early age, that unless I learned to believe in myself, I would never be capable of believing that I could make a difference in the lives of others.
Do you have a philosophy, saying, or quote that influences you? I know you mentioned a few. I don't know if you have another.
I would say the poet Maya Angelou said it so beautifully. Some of the things I know only because wiser women have told me their secrets. I have lived and will continue to live so that I can tell my secrets to younger women of today. That's the reason we women continue to improve and make a difference in the lives of others.
And what advice would you give a young woman beginning her life's work?
Mentor a lot of young women through USF, Kappa Delta, American Medical Women's Association. I always tell just remember, your work is a reflection of who you are as a person. Work hard, smart, and above all, have integrity. Surround yourself with successful women. There you will find friendship, respect, support, humor, and strength. And just visualize every day with passion, having the courage to dream and seemingly impossible dream, and the determination to make it real. This is where inspiration and strategy meet and produce massive results that will change your life forever.
That's good. And what lesson for you was the hardest to learn?
My lesson that was hardest to learn is having parents that said I could do anything that I put my mind into. When I applied to USF Med School, I was told that, why would you want to apply to med school? You're going to get pregnant and drop out anyways. I was only, at that time, there were 2 women in med school at USF and many of the other places I went to, now 52%. The same person who gave me, was on the head of the interview committee when I got my Distinguished Alumni Award from USF, was the first person to come congratulate me. And I did very gracious, and I told her that hopefully the other women that did not fulfill their dreams, because my parents told me I could go anywhere in the world that I wanted to, that they went ahead and fulfilled their dreams just as I have.
I hear you on that one. Is there a question that you wish you were asked?
I always want to give back to my community. You grow up here. I was a product of the Manatee County school system. You go away to college and to graduate school, but then you come back. You realize when we're younger, we want to get out of Bradenton. We don't want to live here anymore. But then we realize this is a wonderful place to live. Give back to your community, volunteer. You'll get so much more out of it than you give. And I know there's some wonderful organizations. It's not of only your time or your checkbook, give her your talents. And I know you'll get so much fulfillment out of that.
And Anila, would you like to introduce your friends and family today?
Very special, my parents, Kailash and Dr. Mona Jane, Roger, of course. My family members, the Alarakias, the Mathers, my nephew Angad, who's here from India, some wonderful family and friends that are joining us today, also my sister Diana, Christy, and I'm just so blessed to have all of you in my life.
Thank you so much. Anila, in recognition for your shining example of improving the status of women in our community, please accept our candle as a woman of achievement. Thank you so much. It was so nice. That's the new quote, 2 parts, don't drop it. Okay, and the 5th of our nominees today, or honorees today, last but certainly not least, Joyce Curse, community advocate and retired educator. Please welcome Joyce. You're not nervous, right? Bless you. Okay, we're going to swap sides. Okay. All right. Who or what was a major influence in your life, and how did it play out as you have lived?
First of all, I want to say thank you for honoring me today. And if I had to say who, I would say my parents. My father, who was the first president of the NAACP, and my mother, who taught in the school system for over 40 years. If I had to say what, I would say the energy of relationships. Relationship with God, the relationship with music, the relationship with family, the relationship with community, my relationship with all of you.
Thank you. Do you have a philosophy, saying, quote, that influences you?
My quote, stand. You stand because if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. M.L. King. My scripture, Ephesians 6:13, the end of which says, having done all, stand. And I also like Proverbs, the 16th chapter and the 9th verse, which says, the heart of man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps.
Very nice, thank you. And what advice would you give a young woman beginning her life's work?
My advice to you would be to continue to believe in yourself, to continue to walk in your purpose, to continue to believe you can make a difference because you can, and to continue in lifelong learning.
What was the hardest lesson for you to learn?
The hardest lesson for me to learn was that you must live with the results of your choices. And when they have been poor choices, then you grow through them. Not go through them, but grow through them. We will all make some mistakes, but God has given us choice. And just know you will live with the results of your choices.
And is there a question that you wish we had asked you today?
Yes, if I had been able to give you the question, I would like for you to have asked it to me, so I'm going to answer it. The question is, Can you see you when you see me? Can you see you when you see me? And if you ask me that, I would say, yes, I can. I see similarities and I see differences, and I'm not afraid of either one. The similarities draw us together. The differences give us reason to talk.
You're fabulous. And Joyce, would you like to introduce your family and friends with you today?
Yes, I would. I will begin with the son, my baby son, Walter, and his very special friend, Yolanda Brewer. I come on around the table and I have my friend for a long time, Beverly Bell. Beverly is my friend in community activities, and Beverly and I are joined from my father's relationship with her grandfather. I also have my cousin who drove over this morning from Lake County, Gail Isaac. Thank you. Gail Isaac Thomas. She always corrects me with her name, so I wanted to give her the chance. I also have my sorority sisters with me, Rebecca McCall and oh, Shirlene, my mind just went blank, Shirlene Mills. At least I admit it, and I know when it happens. Anybody else ever had that snafu? Okay, my family also includes members from my church and members from my Bible study class, those that help me in praising the Lord and those that pray with me in times of trouble. The ladies here, Frida Bellamy, Rebecca Sutter, Phyllis, and Diana. Thank you.
Joyce, thank you for sharing your personal story with us today and for your ongoing support of women and children in our community. Please accept our candle as a symbol of women of achievement in Manatee County. Thank you so much. Did you want to say one more thing?
I walked across here in my flats because I knew I did not want to drop the candle. Instead, I dropped my bracelet.
Thank you so much.
Two parts.
Two parts.
Don't drop.
Oh, you want to come back for this?
I'll get it later.
You'll get it later. Okay.
Thank you.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, are our five women for 2015, our Women of Achievement. Round of applause for all of them.